New season's almost here, and it looks pretty cool. Today we're going to be doing the usual rate and review thing, but also we're going to try something new. Before we get into each individual card, we're going to check out a bit of the lore of that card. Let's get into this installment of Season Pass Review. What's going on, nerds? Let's jump in with the Season Pass card, Agent Venom. So Agent Venom is actually Flash Thompson, Spider-Man's bully. Flash Thompson realized he was being a dick, and then he became friends with Peter Parker in college. He gets shipped off to war, gets PTSD, then he comes home and almost dies in a car wreck. Skip ahead, he's now a gym teacher throwing dodgeballs at kids in class way too hard. And then some stuff happens and he gets the Venom symbiote. After that, he teams up with the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Secret Avengers, and then he died, but not really because it's comic books. So as far as the card goes, he's super cool. I think he's very interesting, and it's gonna be hard to judge until the community actually gets a hold of this card to know what he can actually do. I mean, off the top of my head, there's like, he could be like a good Mr. Negative deck backup, sort of. He's great in ongoing lists. Bounce decks, zoo decks, there's just a lot of potential homes for Agent Venom, but it's really hard to tell if he's going to be super good until he releases. Lots of potential, but definitely has the possibility of just being a flop. So with that being said, I'm going to rate Agent Venom a B. Next up, we got Scream. So I was reading Scream's backstory and it was very, very long. But the gist of it is that this Life Foundation, who apparently are a bunch of assholes, kidnapped Venom. From Venom, they extracted 5 baby symbiotes. One of them was Scream, who then merged with a character named Donna Diego. I know that was a little short, but trust me, when you hear the origin stories of these other symbiotes, it's good that it's that simple. So at first glance, Scream seems like it's okay, it's just like a better Kingpin, but I made this mistake too. It steals power from the cards. So it gets +2 and their card gets -2. If it moves one card, Scream is a 2/6. That's super good. And the move control archetype has existed for a while. It's never been good or playable, really. More of like memes, you know, with Juggernaut and Stegron and stuff like that. But now it feels like, or theoretically, it seems like it has enough cards to actually be a real deck. Kraven, Scream, Kingpin are now all payoffs for moving stuff around on your opponent's side of the board. And if you get Kingpin and Scream, or Scream and Kraven down early in a game, and the rest of your cards just move stuff around, that could be pretty nasty. Also, what I like about Scream is not only she's really good, she's going to be great value if you just trigger her 2-3 times, it's going to be awesome. But it also makes cards that have really dropped off in play, it makes them much more viable. Like Juggernaut is used on occasion, it's not a bad card, but it's never really been like meta dominant. Arrow used to be super awesome, now it's just kind of meh, even after multiple buffs and changes. And Stegron, we all know Stegron's a pile of shit. But with Stegron and Scream, hitting a Stegron into a Scream lane that's already an 11 power play, which is really good. I like the card, I'm excited to play with it. But once again, that archetype has always struggled, so I wouldn't be too surprised if Scream, no matter how good she is, just isn't enough. You can be giving Scream a B+, but she definitely has the potential to be like a C+. We got Misery up next, and oh boy, the card itself and the story, you'll see. So Misery was created by trying to weaponize the symbiotes. Basically some doctors were tinkering with that stuff, and a piece of Carnage and a piece of anti-venom got into a monkey, or was put there. What? Corbin Jones was then hired to steal all this stuff and research from the Life Foundation, and some stuff happened, and one of the doctors that worked on the monkey got infected with the symbiote. Monkey tries to kill Doctor. Okay. The guy that stole the stuff from the Life Foundation ended up having all the stuff he stole merged into him into one symbiote known as Misery. What the fuck? Alright, so as far as the card itself goes, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what I'm supposed to think about this card. And after reading Misery's backstory, I kinda don't care either. Her ability and her story just make me go, this is the part of the video where I say, hey guys, if you know what to do with Misery, or you have any cool ideas, leave them in the comment section below, because I am done with this fucking card. Misery gets, I don't know. Scorn is next up. So Scorn basically is a baby from technology and symbiote stuff being messed with and merged together. Basically, the Carnage symbiote was used to create prosthetics, and then the Carnage symbiote escaped, but still left traces of himself in the machinery that he was merged into. And then that machinery fused with someone named Tanis Neves, I guess I'm saying that right, and Shriek, who, by the way, both died horribly. And the fate of the symbiote is unknown, as far as I know. So I don't really need to say where Scorn is going to be good. Obviously, it's a discard card, but I think people are not really thinking about the fact that, yes, Scorn gives +2 to a card in play, but it stays in your hand like Apocalypse, which, if you've played discard for a while, you know that discard got a lot weaker when they changed America Chavez. What that did was make the last turn of the game confusing for the opponent, because it's like, are you going to play your Apocalypse out and feed your America Chavez to Dracula? They never knew, and it gave you a lot of flexibility on how to win games. Now you can't really do that. Now it's like, obviously, if there's a Dracula on the field, you know that Apocalypse is going to get added to the Dracula. So the math is easy. Well, now with Scorn, not only is it going to give +2 to something in play, she's going to get +2. So at the end of the game, even if your Scorn is only like 6 or 8 power, it still creates a really cool dynamic where you can just play your Apocalypse out and discard the Scorn again, which would then give something else +2 on the field, and Scorn gets bigger to make your Dracula bigger. So all that stuff that you see in like the developer update where they're like, oh, use this with Dawkin. No, it's going to be a waste of time, a waste of effort. Don't do that. Scorn is just baby Apocalypse that is sometimes going to get you much more value than Apocalypse. But yeah, Scorn is just an awesome card. I am so stoked for this. I think it might be good enough to make discard an absolute meta dominator, because discard is really hard to handle already. And with Scorn, they're just, it's Scorn. We're giving Scorn an A+. Toxin is next. So Toxin is Carnage's baby. The symbiote bonded with this cop dude that's in the movies. He's also in the comics, obviously. And then after that dude died, the symbiote then merged with Eddie Brock, who seemingly gets passed around these symbiotes like a gravity bong at a high school party. Eddie Brock and Toxin formed together, and then they ended up fighting this badass looking dude. And after they almost died from that conflict, the symbiote then left Eddie and merged with a dude named Bren Waters. So Toxin, I think, is very similar to Scorn in the ratings and speculation department. We all know where this card is going to go, and we all know it's going to be really good there. And it's good that this card is only good in bounce, because if this card was any more flexible than it is, and you could play it in multiple decks, I think this would be way too good. Yeah, I mean, this is Beast that gives +2 instead of, -1 cost. I pretty much most of the time in those bounce decks, I would rather have the +2. That's a lot of power. Basically, this card on a full lane is a 7 power play. Also, you can then Beast Toxin back to your hand and do it again. Silly. I don't think it's too far of a stretch to say Toxin might be the best card in bounce going forward. Toxin gets an A, but only in bounce. All right, last up, we got Anti-Venom. And look, he's got a logo that's black and his skin is white. Get it? All right, so with Anti-Venom, when the symbiote from Eddie Brock left him, traces of the symbiote were left in his body. Eddie gets cancer. Mr. Negative then shows up and cures Eddie Brock of cancer, but accidentally leaves some of his Mr. Negative power inside Eddie Brock. And then, what do you know? Those two things create a symbiote hybrid. Symbiote hybrid known as Anti-Venom. Clever. So Anti-Venom is just Iron Lad with an extra step, right? I mean, it like Iron Lad copies the ability of the top part of your deck, which then basically means the top part of your deck costs 0 and is put onto Iron Lad. Doesn't Anti-Venom literally do the same thing, except it makes you play it out? I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying they're pretty much the same card. And what we know about Iron Lad is, at one point, it was like the best card in the game, and now it's just like a really solid utility card that some decks can take advantage of really well. I think what Anti-Venom's biggest strength is now there are 2 cards like Iron Lad, so decks that like really wanted to use Iron Lad couldn't count on Iron Lad to really carry wins, but now with 2 of them, maybe these new decks that would have played Iron Lad are now taken to another level, and basically 2 Iron Lads can make a deck really powerful and increase your odds of being able to abuse their abilities, because you can pack more things you would want to copy with Iron Lad into the same deck. But yeah, Iron Lad Anti-Venom gets a B. Alright, but yeah, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think about the little bit of lore I did. I didn't want to go too hard into it doing the lore, because I didn't want people to be like, this sucks, just talk about the cards. But if you guys liked it and you want a bit more of that in the future, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Later, darts.